Okay, here we go. And once again, just want to double check on everyone's audio and volume. I am going to speak for about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, and I'll leave more time for all of you to leave your questions on the chat board so that we can better go into the Q&A section and answer some of your specific inquiries regarding international students and other issues. And let me check back on the chat board to see if you can hear me clearly. And again, thank you for double confirming. If you can hear me clearly, could you answer a yes on the chat room, please? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And again, my name is Mike Wu. I am one of the admission officers for the Master of Science program here at Golden Gate University. And it's my honor to present here to you to talk about why GGU may be a good option for you to study in the United States. And I'm also going to give you some updates on how we would play out in the fall semester and other admissions requirements. Some of the concerns that you might have in mind may be answered from today's presentation already, but if you have any specific questions, let's talk more about on the Q&A section follow-up. So I am a number person. That's why I want to start talking about my school with some of the numbers to share with you so that you have a better idea in mind. Now, first of all, the first number is 1901. That is the year Golden Gate University is founded. Yes, we are a school of over 100 years already, based in San Francisco, California. So far, we have over 70,000 alumni, graduates already. That's a very big connection and network. And we do have our LinkedIn we do have our official LinkedIn for our students and graduates to connect each other. We have about 3,000 students currently studying with us. So 3,000 is not a big number compared to other universities and traditional universities, but we are very proud of the size of our student population and also the diversity of our international population as well. When it comes to graduate student average age, and I think that's a very important number to you, that is because our average student age is 34 years old. Now this number is a little bit more mature and older than many of the universities in the surrounding areas, what we call traditional universities or some other university you are also looking into. Now the reason is because Golden Gate University, we were founded with a focus to serve working adults in the first place. When we talk about working adults, we are talking about, for example, students that have, students like you that have graduated about 3, 4, 5 years ago and started work experience, have 2 or 3 years of work experience already. And from time to time, you start to think about, it's time to go back to school. I'm going to get my advanced degree and I'm ready for the challenges ahead and study in the United States. So this focus makes us attract to a very large number of students who are working professionals in the downtown San Francisco area when it comes to domestic students. And I'll give you a perspective of our location and why we are able to attract a large number of domestic students. And also that you have a feeling it's a very different from traditional universities. Many of your classmates in your program may be working professionals in the surrounding area, in the downtown area already. They have their full-time job in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening. They come here to study. So I always encourage every one of my international students to start connecting yourself with the bigger crowd, with the mainstream community, with the domestic students, starting on your first day of your first semester. That's very important to building up your career network and later applying for a job and to settle in the United States. In terms of the international populations, we have about 8-9% of the population being international. We have about 230 students representing over 48 countries around the world. Some of the biggest international populations in terms of country we receive are coming from India, China, Uzbekistan, to many people's surprise. So, and also from Malaysia, Indonesia, Nigeria, from Europe, all over the world. But for example, our STEM programs, the business analytics programs and information technology management programs, have a very talented and also, of course, a very large population of students from India. We do have students that are coming from China as well, studying in our finance programs, taxation program, accounting programs. So it's a very, I think in terms of the population here, you see a very diverse community. But at the same time, if you are coming from India or China, you will also see a bigger representation in the campus and be able to connect. Our location is the key. We are located in the heart of San Francisco. To give you a perspective, and many of you may know companies like Salesforce or LinkedIn. Salesforce is across from us. It's about 100 meters from us. LinkedIn is about 1 or 2 blocks from us, which is about 200 to 300 meters from us. It's really close. We are also across from the street from the big 4 accounting companies, the JP Morgan Chase, Deloitte, KPMG. So that is why many of the working professionals in the downtown area, especially with the domestic students, they come here to study in the evening because of the convenience of location. But at the same time, that gives you a very good advantage as an international student to connect yourself with the working professionals other than your professors. These working professionals, as well as your classmates, they have their own resources in their own company as well, and they also bring their own expertise and experience to the classroom to enrich our international students' learning experience in the campus. So I also would like to present you some of the highlights why international students are being attracted to Golden Gate University in the first place. First of all, we do have one of the lowest student-teacher ratio in the San Francisco Bay Area. And when we talk about student-teacher ratio, we are talking about how many students would have 1 teacher. So our ratio is 12:1. It's a very, very good number, a very ideal number. What does it mean to you? That means you learn from the professors who are active industry practitioners in the field they teach. And also, you get the personalized attention because of the low student-teacher ratio. To give you an example, many of our professors are also, just like our classmates, they are also what we call working professionals in the surrounding area. They have their own full-time job in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening, in their spare time, they come to GG to teach. So very common, we see professors who are, for example, working on a day-to-day project in their own company in the morning, and in the evening, when they come to teach, they share the experience and they bring their own projects for students to share. That's a very, very valuable experience. And I'm very proud of the fact that we are hiring a lot of talented and industry experts in the field so that our students get up-to-date knowledge on their subject expertise. In the meanwhile, we offer scholarships to qualifying international students of up to $15,000. That's also a very big number compared to other peer universities in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I know that last but not least, many of you have very specific concern on the reputation and the ranking of Golden Gate University. And just to give you perspective, we are ranked #1 for adult learners by Washington Monthly for 4 consecutive years. We are ranked #1 for adult learners. You don't see our name on US News. That is because our focus is mainly on working adults like you, students who have graduated from their universities 3-4 years ago, and many of your classmates may have even experienced working 10, 15, 20 years and have decided to come to the school to study. So our focus is a little bit different from the traditional universities that are attracting fresh graduates. But instead, we are so proud of the fact that we help our students job ready, and we are also so proud of the fact that we connect students with the working professionals. To give you a perspective of our graduate programs, and I am very good to see that some of you are already posting comments on the chat board. And again, I will give everybody plenty of time to go for the chat board and with the Q&A, okay? Let me go back to the presentation. We do offer a wide variety of graduate programs. Some of our most popular programs are already in here, and I'd like to share with you. For example, we do have 2 STEM programs available. We do have the Master of Science in Business Analytics and the Master of Science in Information Technology Management. These 2 programs are some of the most popular, but at the same time, most competitive programs offered at Golden Gate University. And we also have our business programs. For example, our MBA program, Master of Business Administration, is also another very popular program among international students. We also do have the MS in Finance program. Our leadership program is popular because of the time to finish is relatively shorter than most programs offer in the United States. For example, the MS in Leadership program, students often can finish it in about 1 to 1.5 years, mostly in 1-year scenario. And we do have a very specific and reputable program, the MS in Taxation program. And just to give you a perspective, Golden Gate University as a school we build up our reputation on our taxation program. I sometimes hear words from my other students saying that they also receive classmates that are studying in other schools, taxation and accounting programs, but they are also interested to study in Golden Gate University for their taxation and accounting program, so that they can better prepare themselves for the CPA and later on. So just to give you a perspective, our taxation and accounting program is reputable, not only in the region, but many of the classmates, many of the students from other schools are also attending some of our classes in taxation and accounting as well. Other than the programs I just mentioned, we also offer some other programs. For example, we have Human Resources program, EMPA program, and we also have 2 psychology programs. And I can give you, if you go to our website, you will see a comprehensive list of programs available to international students. Many of you may have a concern because of the COVID-19, how GGU is going to be for the fall semester. And right now, at this moment, I do not have a concrete confirmation on the classes arrangement for the fall semester. Now, however, we are closely monitoring on the COVID-19 situation, and we are strictly following with the state and local government's order, shelter-in-place order. When we consider the classroom arrangement for the fall semester, the biggest and the first priority we have in mind is always the safety and health of everyone of our students like you studying at Golden Gate University. So we are open to all options as long as student safety and health is maintained. And just to give you a perspective, we are a pioneer in online education already, and we have provided high quality of remote instruction for over 20 years. The COVID-19 situation has forced many schools in the San Francisco Bay Area to move online. I would say that this is catching many other peer universities by surprise, but it's not a surprise to us. We are one of the first universities in the region that are fully online ready to accommodate the COVID-19 situation a couple months ago. And we are very proud of the fact that we are so ready with the remote instruction ahead of many other schools that may not be. Our online courses, if the fall semester, we will be putting the courses online. Chances are the online courses will be offered in two kinds of formats. One would be students would still have to attend in a specific time, a real time, just like a real class, in-person classroom, but you will join the class in the real time using Zoom, just like what we are doing now. You are seeing your professor on a web camera via Zoom, and you will just hold the class just like an in-person class in a real time. The other is what we call the real online classes. That means you don't need to attend the classes in real time. Instead, you go to our online learning platform, join the discussion, and follow the online format, so that you don't need to, you can study and learn the contents, anytime in your own time. This is what we call a synchronous learning experience. So online courses, again, might be offered in two formats. One would be the real-time Zoom meeting format, like what we are doing now. The other one would be what we call the asynchronous format, which you can study anytime according to your own schedule. At the same time, our student services team members, for example, our academic advisors, our financial aid counselors, and me as well, I'm working remotely now at home. Enrollment counselors, we are all available to support students remotely. Currently, as of today, all of our staff are working remotely to comply with the local and state shelter and home order. But our service is still maintained, and we are helping students just as usual. And speaking of the ranking, many of you are talking about reputation and ranking. And again, we are ranked #1 among adult learners by Washington Monthly for 4 consecutive years, almost 5. And as I said, because we have a very big focus on our working adults, we do have a department set up called the Department of Career Planning, and the department is set up to accommodate students' inquiry, current students' inquiry and request to get themselves job ready. For example, these are some of the activities our career planning department has planned or is planning. We do offer opportunities for our international students and current students to connect with present employers. We do host webinars, and during the non-COVID situation, we do offer workshops for students to come and gather to talk with recruiters in the companies. And we also host webinars from time to time to train our students to get them ready in their resume and to get them ready for their job interview. And also, one of the features our career planning department offers is what we call a drop-in or a scheduled one-on-one career consultant. So our current students like you or international students like you is able to talk with one of our career counselors at school. And you present your resume, you present your inquiries, and our counselor will be able to help you out one-to-one. During the non-COVID-19 situation, you can always do this in person. Right now, our career service counselors are doing it remotely over Zoom with our students to do the one-on-one guidance. We also have a wide variety of student clubs in the school. That is what's going to happen with some of you who may have been admitted to the school already. And I see names here, familiar names here. You're admitted to the school. And if you go all the way to the very end of the process, the last step for you will be to join the on-campus or the remote orientation, depending on that time. During the orientation, you will be able to get in touch not only with the academic advisors, but later on, some of our club, our student club members is also glad to join in and be able to answer your question to see if you are interested in joining their clubs. We do have a very talented project management and business analytics clubs in the school. And joining these student clubs offer our international students very good benefits. One of them would be because these clubs are also in touch with employers outside and also in touch with other resources outside of the school. They connect you with other sources, and they also host their events. So for every one of my international students, I actually highly encourage you, if you come to the GGU in the end and starting with the classes, also check out our in-school clubs to see which one you are interested to join. It's very good. It helps you to connect. It's super crucial for our international students, in my opinion. Okay, so we've talked about some of the main points that we are attracting international students into our community. So how do we do it? Okay, how do we get yourself ready? How will you be ready to be in GGU? Now, one of the first things you might want to know is what kind of ideal applicants we are looking for before you apply. To give you a perspective, because I am talking about the graduate programs, and usually some graduate programs have their specific program-specific and country-specific requirements, but I would like to share with you what a general picture is like, what kind of general ideal applicant we're looking for. First of all, we are looking for applicants, we are welcoming applicants with GPA of 2.5 or plus to apply, minimum. At the same time, we strongly recommend students with a US GPA equivalent of 3.0 to apply. At the same time, many of our international students like you may also need to fulfill what we call the English language requirement, just like many other schools, most schools in the United States do. We do offer a variety of options, especially with the COVID-19. We accept TOEFL score of 79 or above, IELTS 6.5 or above, and right now you can see I am bolding this word in red. That is because in order to accommodate the COVID-19, we are adding Duolingo English test as an alternative for our students. If you are not able to schedule, or if your appointment is canceled, if your TOEFL or IELTS appointment is canceled due to the COVID-19 and you are looking for alternative, Duolingo is a good option. You can take this exam at home. The test usually takes about an hour to complete, and you get the score pretty fast. So I highly encourage my students like you, if you have difficulty registering for a TOEFL or IELTS exam, try using the Duolingo English test as an alternative to get yourself qualified for the admission standard. Some of our programs, for example, the Information Technology Management program, may require relevant education and work experience. Now, in my opinion, because I work with students in the past, it is not required that you must have a direct education experience with the degree you are going to study. For example, some of my students who are wanting to study business analytics come from a variety of different backgrounds in the past. For example, some of them study human resource in their bachelor, some of them study mathematics, computer science. So I think it is not up to you and me to determine, whether your past education experience or work experience is truly relevant or not. But I think I would highly recommend you, if you want to find out, the first step you can do is to submit an online application. That way, it helps to initialize the admissions process, as well as helping us to gather the documents for us to better understand your situation, so that we can evaluate your application based on your experience. And again, if you do have a relevant education and work experience, that's highly recommended, but that is not a required factor for many of my programs. For India, I do want to highlight this because we receive a large number of students from India who are asking about whether we accept their 3-year e-commerce degree. And I am giving you a confirmation here. Yes, we are okay with the majority of 3-year Bachelor's of Commerce degree from India. And again, we are okay with the majority of 3-year Bachelor's of Commerce degree from India. And the last thing is some of our students may be required to submit WEF ICAP, WES, but WEF ICAP at the same time may not be required for many countries. So if you would like to find out whether you need WEF ICAP to apply or be eligible for admissions criteria, you can send me an email, or a more convenient way would be you can directly submit an online application first, and we'll be able to guide you into the next step. Other than the admissions documents, after you submit your applications, you will have a chance to upload what we call the supplementary documents to complete your review process. And again, submitting your application is the first step of the process. And after you submit your application, you will either have a system notifying you can upload some documents to complete the review, or later you will also receive an email from our admission counselors to give you a checklist of what documents is needed in order to push your application for review. Some of the common supplementary documents with the majority of our programs may include the official transcripts. In some countries, it's the mark sheets. If you're from India, we need your transcripts and mark sheets so then we can better assess your academic situation. We also need a scanned copy of your final degree certificate. In some countries, you may provide us with the provisional degree certificate first for the review process. But I just want to give you an expectation. After you are admitted to the program, we still need your final degree certificate for the I-20 stage. Other than your transcripts and your degree certificate, you will also need to submit an official score of your IELTS, TOEFL, PT, or Duolingo score. It's fairly easy on your side. You can contact your test administrator and have them send us your score to us. And then your test administrator will send the score to us and we'll treat them as official score. Some programs also may require a copy of your resume and a statement of purpose. And also for the MBA program, we do require you to submit a score of your GRE or GMAT score. We do not have a specific minimum score for your GMAT GRE, but we require you to submit a score for the GMAT GRE for our consideration for the program. So the rule of thumb is if you're not 100% sure what kind of document you may need, you can submit an online application first and wait for the checklist, and then you can plan and prepare the documents according to the checklist we give you. Okay, so I've already talked about some of the policies we help to support students during the COVID-19 situations. We are okay with Duolingo English test, and for some countries, we understand that it might be very difficult for you to obtain your official documents and to contact your school at this time because the schools are closed. So we are okay with you sending us your unofficial transcripts and documents for the review process. That way, at least you are able to get an admission decision, and so that you can plan ahead for the next step. And we are also proud to provide our 4 international scholarships to qualifying F1 students in the United States or online for up to $15,000. So what will our international scholarship like? Okay, our international scholarships, you don't need to apply separately after you are admitted to the program. So the first step is you submit an online application, and the second step, you can upload the supplementary documents, or you just wait for the checklist for us to send you so you can upload the required documents. And after we have all of the required supplementary documents, we will be able to push the application for a review so that a decision can come out. And congratulations, if you are admitted to the program according to the decision, we will forward your application to the financial aid committee, to the scholarship committee to determine if you are qualifying for any one of the international scholarships, okay? And again, you don't need to apply for the scholarships separately. It's automatic, and we will forward your application to after you are admitted. The scholarships are determined based on two criteria. One is when we take a look at your transcripts and your mark sheets, we will convert it to the US GPA equivalency. So we will be using your US GPA equivalency as one of the criteria. And at the same time, we also use your English test score, your TOEFL, IELTS, PTE, or Duolingo score as the other criteria. So we use two criteria, your GPA or your English test score. For example, if you have US GPA equivalent of 3.6 and you have a TOEFL of 105, that puts you in the highest category of $15,000 because our minimum GPA with the 15,000 is 3.5 and our minimum TOEFL is 90. Okay, so just to give you an expectation. Now, I also would like to keep you in mind our deadline for the international scholarship is June 15th. Okay, so the best chance for you to secure a scholarship is to get yourself admitted to the program. Again, to get yourself admitted to the program before June 15th so that we are able to better assess your situation. And again, the scholarship is has terms and conditions applied because the funds are on a limited basis and on a first come, first basis. All right, okay. Now, I hope I am not talking too much and too long because I want to leave everybody plenty of time to do a Q&A section. And I know our chat board is already blooming with some of the questions sending me privately, okay? Let me take a look at the chat board to see any of your questions. And again, this is Mike with Golden Gate University. If you have any questions, now is a good time to ask, okay? Please type your questions on the chat board and I'm able to answer your questions. Okay, Midhat, your question is, could you please elaborate on what is an F1 or J1 visa? That is a very good question. If you are coming to the United States to study, most likely you will be needing an F1 visa. F1 visa is a student visa in the United States. J1 visa usually is what we call a scholar exchange visa. For example, if you are enrolling in a program called Fulbright Scholarship Program, or if you are coming to the United States as a visiting scholar, you will be needing a J1 visa. In 99% of the scenario, Midhat, you will be needing to apply for an F1 visa to study in the United States. I would like to, so Sagar, you asked a good question. You would like to know what is the approximate processing time for applications? Now, that depends. That depends. So after you submit your application, we will check what is missing, what documents is missing from your side, and after we receive all of the required documents for review, we will push applications up for a final review. And the decision usually can come during a non-COVID-19 situation, can come in about 30 business days. But because of the COVID-19 situation, I highly encourage every one of you, especially if you are considering the fall semester, you need to apply as soon as possible. We are already processing for 2020 applications. And the reason I'm saying you need to initialize the admission process as soon as possible, that is because the earlier you submit your application, the earlier we will be able to provide and guide you with the required documents checklist. The earlier you'll be able to prepare for your documents, and the earlier we'll be able to send your application for review and get a decision. And because of that, you will have more flexibility in the later stage, obtaining your I-20, preparing for your I-20 documents, and also securing a visa interview. Some countries, for example, in India, before the COVID-19 situation, for example, the last fall semester, during July or August, sometimes visa wait time can take so long with embassies in India. Sometimes some embassies can take up to 70 days. And so for our students that are applying too late, they might miss the time to secure their visa interview. So my advice is, yes, you need to apply as soon as possible. And the earlier you apply, the more flexibility you have in the visa stage. Okay, so Shakar asked a question, how about OPT or internship opportunities during or after course in case of MS program? So some programs, an internship course is required. And so I think that's a very specific question to you. And that depends on what kind of program you're interested to apply. I am leaving my email here. Shakar, okay? So you can send me an email with your question and what kind of, with a specific concern, because this one is a little bit too personal, and I think it's better that we communicate on the email. You're welcome. Okay, Swanzi, you asked a question. Does GGU decide whether it's an online course or what is in the form in the fall? Okay, so as I mentioned before, we have not yet officially decided whether fall semester would be fully online or the other format. We are closely monitoring on the current situation. And as you know, many of our peer schools have already announced putting their classes online. We are open to this option as well. So we have not yet decided officially, but I just want all of you to have an expectation. There is always a possibility that because of the COVID-19 situation, the fall semester, we will need to move the classes online, or either in an online plus in-person mixed format, okay? So options exist. We are still evaluating on which options serve the best interest of our students. Sorry, I don't have a very confirmed answer for you, Swanzi. Okay, Midhat, you asked a question. What is the definition of admitted? Okay, the definition of admitted is after we review your application, and we will push application for review. And if the committee has decided, we admit you to the program. And after the admit decision is made, you will receive a decision letter saying, "Welcome to GGU. We are admitting you to the program." Okay. That is before you pay the I-20. That means once you receive your admission letter. That is the one. Okay, Xuanzi, you have another question. Will you have a new I-20 issued by GGU because I'm taking online courses in fall? That depends on different situations. Some students, if you are already studying in the United States, we issue you what we call a transfer in I-20. But if you are in your home country now, and you are not an F1 visa holder right now, and you don't have your I-20 with other schools, we will issue you a new I-20. It does not matter whether you are taking online classes in fall. Now, however, if you are taking online classes in fall, but you want to come to San Francisco, you need the I-20 and the F1 visa because you need to enter the United States. But if you have decided to study in your home country, you don't need to get the I-20 and the F1 for now. Possibility to defer admissions to next batch in case for 2020 goes online. That is always an option and choice on your side as a student, Shakar. Okay? If you apply for the fall 2020 semester and you are not comfortable with the classes going online yourself, I think my advice to you is you can apply either for the spring 2021 semester first, or you submit the application for the fall semester and later defer to the spring 2021 semester. Does it make sense to you, Shakar? You are very welcome, Shanti. Sagar, you asked a question. You mentioned that you won't be able to get WEF evaluation. What could be done in this scenario? I am also working with other students that are communicating with WEF, and WEF is working right now with our students, so it should be okay for you to get your WEF documents. The uncertainty is more on, I think, is more on whether your school or your university is able to provide the required document to WEF. So that I think the situation is on a case-by-case scenario. I think if you are not able to get your WEF right now, for some countries, we may be able to use your unofficial transcripts first to get your application for review. So I think advice to you is apply an online application first, submit an online application first, and let's take a look at your situation more clearly. Okay, Sagar, you mentioned that your university is not working due to lockdown in India. Sagar, for India, we do not require WEF. You're welcome. And again, for India, we need if you would like to push application for review, we need your unofficial transcript. Let me type it on the chat board. We need your degree certificate. We need your test score, English test score. And for some program, we also need your statement of purpose and resume. You are very welcome. Okay, looks like everyone is pretty satisfied. I'm happy to hear. Okay, Vivek, you asked a question, what is the placement opportunity provided at the university? And if yes, then what is the median salary offer for MS Business Analytics? So Vivek, first of all, we do not offer job placement to our students. In the United States, when we talk about placement opportunity, we are talking about the school arranging the students a job, offer a student a job after. But I think that you are trying to ask what is the employment perspective for your program. I don't have the number with me right now, but let me try to get back to you later with that. Can I transfer my I-20 to your school, but I am currently located in your home country? The answer is depends on your school, okay? If your current school is able to, if your current I-20 is active, and if your current school's DSO is able to release your record to us, then we will be able to transfer your I-20 from your school currently to GGU later. Okay, it depends on your school whether your I-20 is valid, and depends on your DSO at your school to release your record. You're welcome. Okay, and again, seems like I'm pretty satisfied, and everybody is pretty satisfied too. But again, if you from time to time have come to think of, if you have something pop up with a question, feel free to give me an email so that we can talk about your case more specific in a personalized manner. And again, my name is Mike, and I am the Assistant Director of International Recruitment here at Golden Gate University. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. For those of you who attended today's webinar, you will receive a follow-up email later today, in the US time, later today, with the code waiver so that you can start submitting your application. Again, I know some of you are so anxious in submitting the application right now. The answer is not yet, okay? Wait for the follow-up email and wait for the code waiver. If today's Friday, if you still have not received the follow-up email by next Monday, send me an email and I'll send you the application code. But before then, I suggest all of you to wait for the follow-up email. And in the meanwhile, you can start preparing for your documents, for your supplementary documents. So by the time you receive the code waiver, you can use the code waiver to submit your application as well as upload the documents at the same time. That helps to facilitate the admissions process, and that helps you and me pushing the application for review. That helps us to get the decision as early as possible. Thank you so much for joining today's event, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye-bye. You're welcome. Thank you.